Gary Neville said that Mo Kudus is his kind of new Premier League player of the season. Talking about his first season and some of the goals he's scored already, like it feels like he's really settled in.
It's the impact he has. You can see the boys when they win the ball back, they're looking for Mo straight away because they know he can do that sort of thing. Bit of magic, set a goal up. He's a phenomenal player, and like you say, to do it in his first season in the Premier League, you know, your managers talk, ex-players, it takes a while to settle in and takes you a season to get used to it. Not for Mo. Came in and he's been sensational from the off.
Hello and welcome to Ironcast and welcome to our review of the 2023-2024 season. I'm Chris Scull and joining me is the Ginger Pele, James Collins, once again.
Hello, mate.
What a season. Like top half finish, I think. If you look at the league form progress from last year, obviously 14th last year, into the top half this season. And we had some European adventures along the way as well, Ginge.
Yeah, I think if you look at it as a whole, I think, you know, we could be happy. I think, you know, that's sort of where we were at, I think. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, with the European adventure again, a little bit disappointed to get as far as we did and not go on to get to the final. But as a whole, as a fan now sat here, I'm sure you're the same. I think it's been a good season.
What we're going to do on this episode is talk through some of our favourite moments. So best moments, we'll talk about worst moments, goal of the season, funniest moment, best game, best new signing, and then finally the biggest what if moment of the season. But perhaps let's begin on a positive note. Ginge, what would you say has been the best moment of the season?
Best moment of the season. I think we had a few. I think for me, as a whole, as a fan, I think the first half against Leverkusen here at London Stadium. I think the atmosphere and the game and the buzz around the place, that obviously didn't work out in the end. But I think that first half, I don't think I've been in a stadium where it's been bouncing as much as it was in that first half. We've been lucky over the last couple of years with the atmospheres we have, but I think that first half was probably the best I've seen it and the most excited I've been watching a game, you know?
I think that atmosphere, I'd put that atmosphere up against any other experience at a West Ham game, especially when Mickey put us 1-0 up. The place was unglued. I actually thought to myself, there's no way we're not going to knock them out.
No, it did seem like that. And obviously, like we didn't, like mentioned, we didn't carry it on. But yeah, that first half, you know, me as an ex-player, I'm just thinking playing in that game, it would have been, that first half would have been unbelievable. What it meant, what we could have gone on to. But yeah, it was unbelievable.
And Leverkusen have shown themselves to be a proper team. Like we gave them, I'd say, I mean, I've seen bizarrely quite a lot of Leverkusen, but I thought we gave them one of the toughest games of the season.
I think so. I think coming into the game, we knew they were a good team, and like you say, we more than held our own. We gave them probably their hardest game of the season. Yeah. So, you know, and we all look what they've gone on to do and didn't lose all season. I think if you asked any of their players and their manager, probably playing us was their toughest game of the season. Yeah.
Granit Xhaka said they were lucky to still be in the tie after that first half. That's what he said after the game.
I think it's one of them games as an ex-player, you look at it, if we get another one, you know, and when, you know, in that first half and then it really starts pumping, you know, we would have had a chance. But credit to them as well, shows what a good team they are to stay in the game the way they did and then eventually go on and get through.
I'm going to offer up another nomination.
I was going to say, what's yours then?
Yeah, so I went to the away leg, Freiburg. We lost 1-0. Dodgy refereeing decisions once again, which we'll get on to when we come around to worst moment. But I thought there's no, like, this is going to be really tough, this second leg at home. Need to get an early goal, get in front. And we blew them away 5-0. Like one of the best performances we've seen here at the London Stadium. And it's funny, like West Ham in Europe, I know we're going to have a season out of Europe next season, but we just seem to turn it on in Europe. Like some of the performances we've put in over the last 2 years have been sensational. And that Freiburg game, especially with Mo's goal as well, just another carnival atmosphere.
I mean, it, like you said, out there, he looked at it being, was we 1-0 down, I think, when we from the first leg, and then came here and beat him 5. Unbelievable. Another night, another special night that we've had at this stadium. And like you say, that arguably the best performance of the season, I'd say.
Yeah, it's up there. Let's talk about now worst moment of the season.
Where'd you start?
I always think about West Ham, like you don't remember the worst moments in the years to come. So perhaps this will be a helpful reminder when we look back on this season. I'm going to go first. More generally, I would nominate refereeing decisions, specifically VAR, but one in particular
I know what you're going to say.
My blood boiled more than any. Like I can't think of many West Ham games that have made me angrier. Sheffield United at Bramall Lane. They get a penalty, the latest goal ever scored in Premier League history. That was not a penalty. That was not a penalty. And then even worse than that, we go down the other end and Jared Bowen is mauled to the ground and the referee doesn't even look at it. Like, I just can't. It blows my mind. The frustrations of VAR.
Like you say, we don't want to touch on it too much, but there's been a few this season. VAR decisions gone against us that you could look at. Calvin up at Newcastle could be in there. I think it's a foul on Calvin, if anything.
Yeah.
And it's gone against us. But I think you're right. That Sheffield United game, was it the 100th minute they scored in or something like that? And it was just ever. Yeah, so that'd probably be up there for me.
There's a big debate at the moment about VAR, keep it, get rid. Where do you stand, Ginge?
I think everyone knows where I stand. I'll just say, if I was playing now, I don't know if I'd make it through a game. As in either sent off, penalty. I mean, I could go on a bit of a rant about it. I didn't like it, don't like it. I mean, they'll never get rid of it. It's here to, I see it to stay. It's going to be. But I think, I always say, I'm a big rugby fan. If they had it more like rugby, as in we knew what they were talking about, they don't get a decision wrong in rugby. Yeah. It's always the right decision. They get it right, however long it takes. But the fans can hear what's going on, clears it up a little bit. So I think if they could do it more like that, like I said, they don't get one wrong in rugby.
Yeah.
But as in, you look at some of them, especially the ones we've had. I know Wolves have had a couple of shockers that I've seen on the telly as well. You think, they just get it wrong.
Yeah.
And it was there to get that out of it. But I'm not a fan and don't think I ever will be.
What about like simplifying it so it's like maybe just offsides they're looking at? That's one thing that people talk about.
I genuinely think if they had, and I don't think they'd ever do it, but if you had ex-players, maybe about ex-managers in helping in that down in Stockley Park or wherever they do it, who've actually played the game, know how a challenge works sometimes and how it can, sometimes they give fouls for people, but it's actually the other way if you've played the game. So it needs improving. We've said it a little while now, but it does need improving. They need to get more decisions right than they are, in my opinion.
Yeah. Let's talk about goal of the season. A few contenders here, and I would say almost all of them scored by Mo Kudus.
Yeah, we'll just say Mo has got goal of the season. I think that, like you said, there's a few, but for me, it's got to be last week. It's got to be the Man City goal. I think so. I think to do that, the athleticism he showed to get up there, he actually set it up himself. I'm not sure he's meant to knock it in the air like that, but to do that against City last game of the season, I think for me that is got to be it. Like you say, he scored a few though. That little maze he had, I forget who was against. So he picked the ball up. Freiburg picked it up in his own half. And with that, I think we spoke to Jared Bowen about it. He don't realise how strong he is. He got through 5 or 6 players, bounced off him, and then the finish as well. So for me, it's got to be Mo, but I think it's got to be Man City, the overhead kick.
You've got the Brentford goal as well, the Mo scored, the kind of scissor kick.
Scissor kick as well.
I think I'd go to Freiburg. I'd go for the Freiburg game where he ran the length of the pitch and dribbled it around everybody. A couple of people almost twice, it felt like, and put the ball away.
I was going to say it'd be an overhead kick because it's a great skill, but Andy Carroll scored an overhead kick, so it can't be that hard. Yeah, I think with that goal, say against Freiburg, he showed the pace, strength, and after getting through all those players to finish it the way he did.
Yeah,
it'd be a toss up between the two for me.
Gary Neville said that Mo Kudus is his kind of new Premier League Player of the season. I mean, what a season to we're talking about his first season and some of the goals he scored already. Like, it feels like he's really settled in.
Yeah, straight away, and credit to him. It's the impact he has. You can see the boys when they win the ball back, they're looking for Mo straight away because they know he can do that sort of thing. Bit of magic, set a goal up. He's a phenomenal player, and like you say, to do it in his first season in the Premier League, you hear managers talk, ex-players, it takes a while to settle in and takes you a season to get used to it. Not for Mo. Came in and he's been sensational from the off. So yeah, credit to him. What a season he's had. Yeah. Speaking of players have had a good season, getting in the goals, Jared Bowen has obviously had, I would argue, his best ever season for us. Yeah, I think so. With probably a couple of change of positions as well. Went up top when Mick was injured a little bit, playing off the left, played off the right. Just a good player. And what I love, again, I'm a bit defensive, bit old school, but he puts a shift in. He puts an absolute shift in. It's not all about the goals and that what he does and assists. He puts an absolute shift in. So as a manager, he's an absolute manager's dream because he's going to score the goals, but he's going to work hard the other way as well. Yeah. So again, he's had a great season. With looking forward to hopefully going to the Euros with England as well.
Yeah, hammer of the year. Hammer of the year.
Deserve it, I'd say. I don't know what he finished on. How many goals did he finish on in the end?
It's definitely more than 20 goals and
20
assists.
I mean, I was never involved in a
20 goals.
20 goals. I was never involved in a West Ham place with some great strikers, and players, but no one got. I don't think anyone really got near 20 goal season. So yeah, what a great season Jay's had as well.
Yeah, unbelievable. Best game of the season.
I think we touched on it then. It's probably got to be Freiburg. Here.
Freiburg, yeah, absolutely blowing them away. I really enjoyed both games with Arsenal earlier in the season. The League Cup was absolutely sensational. And equally, beating them at the Emirates just after Christmas, I think it was, the 2-0. Which should have been 3.
Should we go back to bad moments, though? Do you not want to talk about the game here?
They're the only 2 games without what I want to talk about.
I think Freiburg, for what was on it and being 1-0 down and a bit of apprehension about the game, to come here and steamroll them 5-0. I think it's got to be, for me, it's game of the season.
If I was objective, and I wasn't a West Ham fan, I really did enjoy the game at St James's Park, even though we lost it. I did at the end of that think, what a game of football I just witnessed here. Even though we were 3-1 up and lost 4-3, it had everything. It was swinging wildly from one side to the other. One thing I've done is at the end of the season, looked at our points total and think, well, with Sheffield United, we had that last minute goal against Villa. You're like, you probably could add on another 6 points.
You do that as an ex-player or as a player at the time. You always think, oh, we drew one there. We had a chance last minute. But yeah, it was a great game as well. I'm not sure if you asked the gaffer at the time, it would have been great being 3-1 up and then losing it 4-3. But we've been treated. We've been treated to a lot of maybe some games that we haven't won or we've drawn, but some of the football and some of the attacking play be shown in a lot of the games. You could look at a lot of them. But yeah, for me, I think it's got to be Freiburg. Yeah, 5-0.
I'd also throw in there last home game of the season, Luton. 1-0 down at half time. I just loved that second half was so much fun. The sun was out. It was a classic end of the season game. Yeah,
it was. And like you say, 1-0 down again. Showed a lot of character, a lot of spirit as the boys have over the season and come back and win it. And then obviously, it's always nice as an ex-player, the last game of the season is always nice. You're going to get your family down on the pitch and to win. It's not so great if you've lost. I've lost a couple at home on the last game of the season. To win it and have your family out on the pitch and walk around and thank the fans. Yeah, that's a special game as well.
Yeah. Best new signing. I think there's an obvious contender given that the amount of nominations you have for goal this season. Mo Kudus be up there.
Yeah, I think so.
Edson settled in nicely.
Yeah. I think the start of the season when we signed the boys we signed, I think they've all done pretty well. They've all their first season in the Premier League. Alvarez has been very good as well. He probably hasn't got the headlines that Mo has, but I think for a player that's come in straight off the bat and performed, and you could see that the boys were looking for him to give him the ball. He was that good. I think it's got to be Mo.
Yeah,
it's got to be Kudus. I think for the goals he scored, the bits of play we've seen, setting up goals, and he's a great lad as well. I know the boys at the training ground say he's a top lad. He's good in the dressing room. So I think for me, it's a no-brainer. It's got to be Mo Kudus.
Yeah, you're right. It's such a great character to have around. Always got a smile on his face. Always saying hello to everybody.
You need that as well as a player. Like you say, he's always got a smile on his face. He's bubbly. Sometimes at the training ground, it can be tough if there's been a loss or as an individual, you're not playing the best. To have someone like Mo who's always smiling and having a bit of laugh and taking the pressure off a little bit, and you can bank on him. He's one of them players that if you're not playing well and you defend all right, Mo will do something magical and win you the game. So not hands down, but I think an easy decision that it's got to be Mo Kudus signing the season. I think everyone listening would agree with that.
Yeah, totally. I'm one of those players that I just so looking forward to next season just to see him again. Because I think that players like him, we've seen so much from him already, but when you come into the Premier League, it often takes players a year or two to warm up to. We saw definitely. It with Paquetá. And I think Mo might be another example of that, where the second season it just goes up another level.
He's more used to it, used to the physics. There's no doubt about it. Premier League's the most physical league in the world, and like you say, he is strong, and he does get battered about a little bit, but he'll be used to that now. You go away, have a bit of holiday, but he's not like the players I would. He's going to go away and not work. you can tell he's going to work hard, as all the players will work hard, come back in pre-season ready to go. So I bet he almost didn't want the season to finish. One of them ones, he's playing that well and enjoying his football that much that, he needs a bit of downtime, have his holiday, but he'll come in next season raring to go, wanting to get better, wanting to improve himself, wanting to improve the team, West Ham around him. So I bet he cannot wait to get started next year.
Oh, exciting. Let's end with the biggest what if of the season. I've mentioned a few there when it comes to the points total. The last minute winner against Villa was ruled out, and the Newcastle, but the Calvin penalty, and a lot of them when you think about it, refereeing decisions. But I'm going to nominate one for you first. That first half against Leverkusen, which we spoke about, and there was a chance there after we go 1-0 up. Jared has an unbelievable chance at the back stick, and he fires it in brilliantly. But the keeper, it just happens to hit his foot. If it's like a few inches to either side, it's going between his legs or outside of him. And if we're 2-0 up,
I would have to agree. I think that first half, as I mentioned how good it was, I think what if we got another one? I know Jay had that chance. If we got another one, I think we win the game. Yeah. So that would have to be it. And then what we go on to after that, obviously getting to the final.
I'll throw in another what if. What bad luck to draw Leverkusen in the quarterfinal. They were when you look at how the Europa League how it shook out and Liverpool going out to Atlanta. I feel like if we'd have got almost any other team, you could.
You say that, but I always say you've got to beat the best to win it.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? It's
I think we could have done Leverkusen in the final.
I think, I'd always say, you've got to win. You've got to beat them at some point. Would it have been worse if you lost to him in the final? Would we have felt worse? So what if moments? It's got to be if Jay scores that goal, or if we get another one in that first half against Leverkusen here. I think we go on and win the game.
Yeah.
And then hopefully would have won the final.
Oh, can you imagine? Reunited with Scamacca in the final against Atlanta in Dublin. Unbelievable scenes. Well, what a season it's been. Maybe let's end on a quick note for the gaffer, David Moyes.
Yeah.
You played under him, of course.
I did, and
first time. Big transformation job he's done with the club. And I think he leaves with his head held high, doesn't he?
I think he's got. I think any West Ham fan would have to agree. There's no doubt in my mind, in my opinion, we're in a better place than we were when he took over. He's brought a lot of stability to our football club. Certainly, I can only talk about when I was playing, and fans will agree or disagree. We was not a yo-yo club as in going down, but we'd have a good year. Like we'd had a good year under Slavan. Next year, we're looking over our shoulder at relegation, and I've done it in the past as well. There's no doubt about it. The gaffer, David Moyes, brought stability to our club. We've had some unbelievable nights. The 3 years we had in Europe was it. Nights that I probably thought, certainly as a player, I wouldn't see. I wouldn't see, us big semi-finals, European nights here, and I didn't. And I think, that's what the gaffer brought. Level of stability and big moments in our history. And obviously the night in Prague, which every West Ham fan is going to talk about for the rest of their lives. Certainly a night I remember, because it was a night for me that I had never seen that as I was... As a fan, I'm now a West Ham fan. It was the first time I'd really been to a game and enjoyed the occasion, enjoyed the night, and watched it as a fan. So that will always live in my memory. Being in the crowd, supporting the team that I love, and obviously the scenes.
Oh, the scenes. Yeah, just incredible. From the fan zone in Prague, winning the trophy, the scenes in the stadium,
and also home. Winning it the way we did. That didn't really happen to us as a West Ham team, or I didn't see it. Winning the final last minute. It was everything about that night. I was in the crowd with boys I've known for 20 years who were West Ham fans. I met when I was first here, and just enjoyed the night with them. To win it how we did, and then the celebrations after, and the bus tour. It's a moment in our history that will last long forever.
Brilliant stuff. And now that's it for the summer. Looking forward to next season. It's going to be a big one.
It is. Can't wait.
Yeah, can't wait to get going again. Thank you for listening. Hope you enjoyed this season review. Until next time, come on, you Irons.